My name is ingridmwangiroberthutter, which is to say that's a collective artist name. I work together with my partner and husband, Robert Hutter, so I'm Ingrid Mwangi. And we are so-called new media artists. That means we work with new media, everything that comes from the development of the painting and sculpture. So video, sound, installations, digital photography and performance. From the beginning, I haven't belonged. Growing up in Kenya, I was a white person. When I went to the village, that they would call me Mzungu. Coming to Germany, I realized very strongly that I'm a black person. So it's something that I'm used to, that I work with, and as I said before, that I can transform through the work. Now, this step of being a collective being, Robert and I have created like a kind of a fictive artistic personality, which means we join both our names, which are written as one word. We have an average birth date, and we're born in Nairobi, Ludwigshafen, which is a fictive place. So we're this kind of double-gendered, multicultural personality, and all of our thoughts and ideas flow into this. I started to study graphic design, and I moved very quickly to art because I couldn't cope with being visually creative for a product. And I think I did some very basic painting, but actually in my orientation studies, because I was studying in Saarbrücken, that's a town in Germany, and I think the conflict came when I started to paint a picture of myself as an African woman standing in a kind of like a savanna landscape, and I was not at all interested in the questions of the paint and the canvas, and I wanted that image. When I started to move into the media class, I discovered video very quickly, that I could use this medium to just capture that image of myself, and that capturing that image was immediately taking it out of a context, and you could work very freely with replacing this image into another context. So yes, since I started, 10 years I think now, I've been working with video. I think Robert and I are both very interested in social issues. I think the general question, one main question behind our work is the ideas or proposals of how to live together and how to create peaceful dialogue in a time where conflict is very prone. And we think about identity and cultural issues and heritage and traumatic historical circumstances and how to overcome these. So there's always a very strong content behind what we do. But then you do try to find a kind of a clear aesthetical frame in which to manifest these ideas, so that it always becomes a dialogue between the content or the ideas, the proposals that you're working on, and how you present them to the other. This presentation or this form very often has for us to do with opening some sort of view of the audience. This view should be open enough for somebody to compare their own experiences. So we don't try to deliver a full picture or a full story, but rather to show some of these ideas, some of these experiences, and start a dialogue with the audience. I find the work of ours, I say mine because originally Robert and I were working separately. When we made a collective, we decided that both our previous work belonged to the collective. When this work is probably important, one of the important or the key works, even for me, for the artistic investigation that we've been involved in. In that way, it's definitely not a very up-to-date work since it was produced in 2000, but it's fine I understand the decision to put it here from the collection. I was living in Germany as an African, becoming very much aware of appearance, of stereotype, of the eyes of the other on you. And so I was using video as a kind of interrogation of the self. So I pointed the camera to myself, and I was really trying to find out what is it about me, that represents something. And one solution was to use a part of myself, my hair, to work with this, and hair being one of the most important signifiers of identity, hair and skin. We've done quite a lot with hair and with the skin. So I think it was in 1999 that I was making these kind of experiments with with hair and with, you know, skin color and so on. So when I started doing this work, it was very intuitive, and there was a drive behind it. There was a pain behind it. There was the trauma, you know, of being seen and of trying to find your face. I think that generally teenagers, you know, I had been in a phase of my late teenager living in Germany. I think that it's a general thing that at some state in life you start to have a relationship between self and society, and you start to look at how society sees you, and it's painful very often. So I don't think that it was very special for me. I think that everybody went through that. What became special was the tool with which to deal with that, with which to transform that, so that I felt with each work that I was doing, there was a transformation. There was a step towards also freeing myself from that idea of having to represent something specific. Later, what I found out was that anything that you do as a human, as a person, becomes representative for a group. It became representative work for a black person. It became representative for being Afro-German. The German community is just now starting to become a multicultural society and to open up to rediscuss how we name ourselves, how we look at the other, and so on. And it becomes representative for me for being a person, generally.